And also, Tom, people have commented in the past. Some people who are not necessarily big fans of what you're doing, let's say, and they will say, "Well, he really is trying to open this as a restaurant." And I mean, what is your business vision for the winery once it is fully approved?
Well, this really is part one of a multi-part strategy that we have to grow the wine industry, generally speaking, throughout northern Westchester and Putnam County. So what we're looking to do is actually bring a couple of other wineries up here, get some more grapes in the ground throughout the region, and create a wine show. We think economically it'll be very good for our community. And most people really enjoy and love the wine industry. So I think from their perspective, this is going to be a very good thing for our community.
And you are still, if I understand it correctly, growing grapes over at Hanover Farms.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Hilltop Hanover.
Still growing grapes at Hilltop, but we are looking for other locations. And we're working with the Putnam County EDC right now to find locations in Putnam County. And we do have a lot of interest in. There's a lot of money ready to go in the wine industry. What's held it back is waiting to see what happens here. Because, people who are willing to invest money in businesses like wineries or grapes want to make sure that the government understands that the vision is a good one.
Right.
And right now, they're reluctant because of the behavior of the Yorktown administration, specifically the previous one.
Right.
And right now, we're still navigating and educating the people who are on the board.
Right. And also, people have, Tom, I know you've been doing these weekend open houses for quite a while, and I know when I've come here, the place is really packed. I mean, is it generally like that? How have they been going?
Well, they've been going very well. I mean, it's interesting now because the weather's getting nicer. But we've been keeping the attendance limited to under 100 people. That's why we have valet service out there. So when we hit our capacity, we kind of turn some people away. But yeah, it's been a lot of people are very supportive of what we're doing. So they enjoy coming here, and they understand that by coming here, they're actually helping.
Right, and I know what's a very nice new touch you've added is live music that you have on some nights. I know one of my favorite local bands, Class Action, has played here, and then you had a brass quartet, I believe.
Right.
Yeah. And now some people have asked. I mean, even people who come here and really enjoy coming here, they're just curious. Like they're saying, well, if Tom doesn't have all the permits and approvals to open, how can he have these open houses? How does that work?
Well, what ends up happening is, that's an interesting question. The town, when the previous administration was here, tried to get an injunction against me from having anybody in my own property. Now, as you know, Bruce, we have a CO for the property. It may not be the one that the town wants me to have for the business end of what we're doing.
It's for a residential dwelling.
Right. So they tried to prevent me from doing anything, including any type of fundraising for my political committee.
Which is People for an Honest Government.
People for an Honest Government, right. And so when the courts eventually evaluated that, they said, from a First Amendment perspective, political free speech is protected. And so just like any of the politicians who hold fundraisers in their homes when they were running for office, they couldn't prevent me from doing these. So, as I was telling you before, anybody who comes here and buys a glass of wine, now we do have licenses from the Liquor Authority.
The State Liquor Authority.
The State Liquor Authority to do this as an event. And so the money that you spend on a glass of wine, instead of coming to me, goes into the political committee, and then that money will be used for public awareness about what's been going on in the town. It'll go to support politicians who are going to be pro-business candidates who are concerned about what the citizens are concerned about taxes. And so because the court order, which is there's a New York State Supreme Court order that allows me to do this, so the town can't stop these events.
Right. And finally, Tom, I think one of the things that I know fascinates me about you and why I write about you so much, apart from that, you and I enjoy talking about a lot of different things, but I think what fascinates the public about you, especially, is that for somebody who's not an elected official and who does not, at this moment run a business in town, that you have a very high profile as a public figure. So I think people watching this would be interested to know, how did you get into this? I mean, do you have a background in winemaking, or what is your background?
So my background started out in technology. So I have a degree in computer science. I worked at a bunch of companies. I won't go through the whole laundry list for you, but most recently IBM until about early 2005, and then I worked as a senior vice president at a small defense firm. And so I've always been involved in technology. But as a result of the positions I held at these two companies, and I'm spanning now close to 18 years, the last 18 years of my career, I had an opportunity to work in Washington. I did some lobby work there. I had an opportunity to live in California, in Napa. I really honed my winemaking skills there. And so I always knew that at some point in my life, I wanted to be involved in the wine industry. And I actually was looking for property up in the Finger Lakes in Long Island. And then right in my backyard, this building becomes for sale. And so when I walked in, I said, if this building doesn't scream wine, no building on the planet does. And so this became what I consider to be like an anchor to get the community here to understand that the wine industry is a very good thing for everyone because of its economic benefits and the fact that it's a green business. We didn't add any square footage to this site. So from a historic perspective, all we're doing is taking a building that was here and utilizing it. And at the same time, get some grapes in the ground, grow some locally produced wines that can be a source of pride for our community. And most people who have been here or who are reading about it get that. They understand what we're trying to do. And the biggest frustration for me is to get the politicians to understand it, because there's always something in the way. There's always some preconceived notion that they have, and it's hard to let them see it. Which is why we have all the litigation in place, because at some point you have to get their attention, and that's the way to do it.
And can you quantify actually the size of your following? I mean, I know, and we know at North County News from our covering you and the winery, that there seems to be a growing number of people who are your supporters. Can you quantify?
Well, we have upwards of 5,000 people who are subscribed to our email list. We put up a Facebook group that we actually just modified within the last, 6 months, and we have close to 1,000 followers on Facebook, and that grows every day. And so between the two of those, we have a really large audience. Now what's interesting is there's a portion of that, it's got to be 35%, who are not Yorktown residents, but surrounding communities, Peekskill, Portland, Mayapack, even Bedford. We got people following us down in Lower Westchester, Chappaqua. I mean, there are people who come up here who just love the building. So this is another thing. We can be a destination right here in Mohegan Lake, where we can actually bring people up to spend money in our community, which again is a good thing for our local economy. Right.
And you actually reside right now in
I reside now in Putnam in Mayapack, right.
Right.
Although I may be moving into Yorktown.
Really? Okay. Yeah, hey, we got a scoop.
Yeah, we got a scoop.
All right. We've been talking with the owner of the winery in Shrub Oak, Tom DeChiaro. Thanks very much, Tom.
It's my pleasure, because I always love talking.
Yeah, same here.
And cheers.
Cheers. Yeah, that's right. We'll end with a close-up on wine, right?